Well, good evening and welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks Evening Edition show. I'm Slim Overton and I'm here with, we have a special guest this evening and Leah will introduce her, but Leah is the host moderator for the Thursday evening shows and we have her here and co-host who is moderator of the morning shows on Monday morning at 7 a.m. Thomas the Colonel Chapman. Good morning, co-host. Good morning. Good evening,
Good morning.
co-host.
Good evening, co-host.
I'm kind of pushing it, right?
Yes, you are. You push it.
Yeah, but anyway, Leah, before you introduce our special guest, I want to let everybody know if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, especially YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe. We need those subscribers and comment. And feel free to comment because we want our audience to participate with us tonight. If you have comments about the subject or questions or something like that, or just want to say hi, let us know you're there. Anyway, and also share this with your family, the ones that might not know that we're on tonight. You know, we want everybody to share in the information that we bring to you twice a week, every week. So, Leah.
Thank you, Slim and Colonel.
Yes.
It is indeed my honor and privilege to introduce to you a wonderful young lady who is doing so much in the Hampton Roads community. She is Naomi Estaris, and she's going to talk about the active Filipino community in the Hampton Roads area. And we're just so happy to have her. Now, for a brief bio of Miss Naomi, her forte and focus is in the area of travel and tourism, which she's been doing for over 33 years. Her niche is the Southeast Asia, specifically the Philippines. She gives back to the community through several organizations and serve on boards to focus on the Philippines and in her community of Virginia Beach. She served on several boards: the Sister City Association of Virginia Beach, Envision 2040, Resurrection United Methodist Church, Virginia Beach, Olangopu. Am I correct?
Olangopu, yes.
Okay, a business development which was created to promote economic and business development between the U.S. and the Philippines. She also serves as the president of the Philippine American Chamber of Commerce for Southeastern Virginia. Her experience includes 10 years in a Fortune 500 company, Beverly Enterprises, providing accounting and tax compliance knowledge in the nursing home and health care sector. She has 12 years of experience in the not-for-profit sector with Operation Smile as the Chief Operating Officer, areas of administration, operation, fundraising, board development, warehousing. And she's been creating tour groups and designing journeys of a lifetime. E-Star Entertainment, producing shows and events, forecasting entertainment experiences beyond expectations. Endure. Now, one other amazing thing that she's doing, she's the CEO for a not-for-profit humanitarian effort, helping women and children specifically for economic justice and equality to fight human trafficking. So, Naomi, you are one busy lady, and we thought we would come here to talk to you about Filfest, but let me tell you, you have done so much in the community. So I'm going to open the floor to you. I'm going to give you the opportunity to make your opening statement, and then we'll go from there.
Leah, thank you so much. And Slim, it was great to be on this coffee talk this evening. Excited to showcase a lot of things that are happening in our Filipino community. You just read my resume, and I felt like I was 150 years old just based on what you just said. But it's exciting that I've been given a lot of opportunities. A lot of doors have opened. I believe it's also a calling. God's given you a pathway, and I don't think anything's coincidental. I think there's always reason for why doors open, and it's up to you to see that and take that opportunity and have others follow or come with you. So I have been blessed in that. More recent activities have been that kind of came from Operation Smile and my work there as an operating officer, and I was blessed to be able to visit so many countries during my time there. And it actually opened my eyes to another calling, which is that human trafficking was happening in a lot of countries. And then more uneasy was that I saw it happening in my own backyard. So that has become the calling, and I've done that now, celebrating its 5th year. So I'm excited about sharing that as well. But Leah, thank you so much for having me here, and I love to hear what you experienced at Filfest in Portsmouth, and to hear what others want to do and explore, and bringing other ethnic groups to Portsmouth to showcase. We are truly a melting pot. I think a lot of people see the Hampton Roads because of the military, and the military has brought in so many communities to the Hampton Roads. And so the Filipinos are one of those ethnic groups that have come in because of the military. But I'm glad that we were able to showcase Filfest in Portsmouth. It actually gave us a different audience, a different folks that came from Suffolk, Isle of Wight. We had people, I don't know if you saw all the license plates. Did you see all the license plates?
I did.
It was amazing. I actually was going through the parking lot, and I was looking. I mean, we had people from Pennsylvania, Ohio, Florida, Texas. I mean, there was so many license plates, and it was great. And this is probably our greatest turnout since COVID. COVID kind of turned things around. This is our 10th year, and we started in 2015, and we started in Virginia Beach and one at Town Center. Then we went to Rudy Loop. Then we were at Waterside. Then we're at Mount Trashmore. And then the 10th year, I was so excited that Mayor Glover took the opportunity to come to Filfest, Virginia Beach, and extended an invitation for Filfest to come out and celebrate its 10th year at Portsmouth. And after exploring the idea and actually reviewing that with, of course, City Manager Steve Carter, and then, of course, your Parks and Recs. I mean, it was with open doors. So many people with hospitality, just was gracious to say, hey, and to make that event happen at Festival Park. So we were excited to have it there.
Well, Naomi, let me tell you, it was a grand experience, believe me. My intent was to come out one day, but I had to come back the second day.
Yes!
The love and the fellowship was just so strong out there. The music was outstanding. The food was excellent. And it was just a great experience. And I'm just so thankful that when you told us at the casino that you were going to bring Filfest to Portsmouth. And indeed you did. And we are thankful for that. And I know that the next time around, their turnout is going to be so much better, because I hear people still talking about the great time out there on that weekend in October. So, so it was a great event. But what made you come up with the idea of doing the Filfest?
So actually, in Virginia Beach, at Town Center, that's where it actually evolved. They have little events that happen to promote all the different groups. There was Little Italy, there was Hispanic night, there's Greek night, there's African American night. I mean, Chinese, Asian American night. So all these different events to promote what's happening all through the year. And so we were given an invitation to come out and actually showcase Filfest in 2015. And that year, of course, we were saying, you know what, we got to take advantage of this. How many times are going to get that opportunity, right? So, of course, we got a committee together. We got excited. And of course, they're looking for a little event. And so, like, for example, the weekend before Filfest, it was an Italian event that was happening at Town Center. And it was maybe 500, 700, maybe less than 1,000 people. Year one, when we did Filfest, we had over 4,000 people that came out to Town Center. And they said, oh, wait, it wasn't supposed to be that big. And I said, oh, you didn't tell us it's supposed to be small. Because when we are given the opportunity to showcase our Filipino community and to showcase our song, our dance, our food, just all what Filipinos are about, we're going to show it in a big way. And so, and every year it got bigger and bigger. And then eventually we got thrown out of Town Center because we got too big. We brought Miss Universe. I don't know if you remember when Steve Harvey made the error called.
Yes, I remember.
Remember that year?
I remember that year.
That year is when we brought Pia Wurtzbach
Right.
to Virginia Beach, and it went crazy. But, you know, it was again to showcase, you know, the Filipinos love pageants. So we have a pageantry. So we had that as part of it as well. But that grew out. And from that, Virginia Beach said, you know what, we have to see how we can make you a home here. And that year we said, well, we're going to take it to Waterside. We took it to Waterside, and we brought Miss World, who was also a Filipina, in 2018, and just said, you know what, and it got crazy there at Waterside too. What we want to have people do is, and that doesn't have to be just the Filipino community, that's the Hispanic community, African American community, all this to showcase that we're a melting pot of people, and that we can unify, and that we need to come together as a voice and to fight for certain things. And I think when you showcase your community and there's certain things you want to fight for, when you showcase yourself to the community, they say, oh, then you start to see that you have a life in that community, right? Then you get a voice. And then when there's certain things you want to fight for, it's easier to fight for those because they say, you know what, they give back to the community. And I think that's a way that we bring that to light. And that's what we got to do in Portsmouth. But what I loved about Portsmouth is not only just the city Parks and Rec, the Commissioner of Revenue, the planning and zoning, just all the different departments that actually help make that possible. But even our Old Town Business Association came on board. They want to hear more about what we were doing. How do we get involved? How do we participate? What we can do to promote you? The farmers market, the same thing.
Yes.
Bloom did the same thing. So we were able to showcase, I think, 6 businesses of Bloom.
Yes,
because
you did.
it was a great way to show how people are trying to build a business, and how do we get them out into community? Hey, come out to Filfest. We want to showcase you too. And so it has actually become a vehicle for small businesses to showcase and grow, and actually give awareness that business exists in your community. You know, there was one Filipino business, and actually I love her to death, Melanie Perone, graphic designs, but she had a bus. And she says, this is the first time I get to showcase in my own city. She actually lives in Portsmouth, and she has a business license in Portsmouth. And she goes, Naomi, I get to actually showcase my business for the first time in the city of Portsmouth. I said, oh my gosh, if that's what we were able to do for her, no matter what we could do for others, right?
Yes. Naomi, there were so many interesting things going on, and I learned a lot by coming out there. And one thing that I want you to share with the people is about the Jeeps. I never knew about the Jeepney. Was it Jeepney? Jeepney.
Yeah, the Jeepney. Oh my gosh. Jeepney. So again, what we do with Filfest is we actually try to share traditions, our culture, and our history. And we want to share that with our next generation so that they continue that. It's very important that if we don't share that now, that will ultimately disappear because no one else is carrying on that history. And there's a very important organization, Filipino American National Historical Society, FONS, and actually the city of Portsmouth directed a proclamation to them, because it is that organization that fought legislation. And in 2009, it was passed that Filipino American History Month was birthed in 2009 throughout the nation. So all through the nation since 2009, every different cities actually celebrate Filipino American History Month. And we use Filfest as a vehicle to recognize Filipino American History Month. So the
Is that in
Jeepneys,
October?
yes, October.
Every
October is
October.
designated. Yes.
Okay.
That's why we celebrate Filfest in October.
Right. Okay.
So we wanted to do something different in our 10th year, and we wanted to focus on the family and children. So with a collaborative partnership with Little Bricks Charity, they actually take Lego parts and they repurpose them. And so the founder, Russell, he actually, for every set that's bought, a set is given to a children's hospital. He birthed that because he wanted to have the wishes of children who have cancer to build something, their creation, their imagination. And then he actually creates the Lego set and gives that to that child so that their wish can come true. So we actually received awards through the Coastal Virginia Hampton Roads Chamber of Commerce. And I got to meet him there, and he says, Naomi, we've got to do something together. So we've been trying to do something, and then through Filfest, we birthed something through a Lego set. And we decided to say it takes a village. And we said every year we're going to build our village, and we're going to kick off with a jeepney. So if you went to the children's tent, you would actually see a reel, and that reel would actually talk about the history of the jeepneys and how the American soldiers that were during the war actually left behind over 60,000 jeeps. And the Filipinos, what they did was they transformed that to meet transportation needs. Today, you can actually go through the Philippines, and it is a mode of transportation to go around, kind of like a taxi, but in a jeepney or a bus format. So it's a great way to do transportation. And as a matter of fact, our good friend Vice Mayor John Cortez in Olongapo, as part of our sister city, he actually did a lot of reels and got videos and pictures so that Russell can use it to demonstrate on his reel the history and what was left behind. So did you get it? Did you get one of the Lego sets?
I didn't get a Lego set. I apologize.
We have got to get you one.
I have to get a Lego set.
Because it's good for children.
I want one.
You want one, Slim? I'm going to get you one.
Slim wants a Lego set. But Slim, and the interesting thing is that all those Jeeps were just left there, and y'all repurposed the Jeeps to meet the needs of the people in the Philippines. And
correct.
And still using it.
Still use them. They get better and better every time. They get more colorful. If you ever take a trip to the Philippines, you'll see the jeepneys, and they actually name it. So this, we always thought it was fun to actually find your name on one of the jeepneys, because they name it based on their family name or a business or their child or their favorite pet. So that all the jeepneys have names on it. So on the jeepney that you purchase, there's like a sticker you put on it, and you actually can name your jeepney and put your name on it. So you can actually put one that says Leia Stith on it.
There you go. I need to get that.
We can have one will say Slim on it.
but Naomi, before I let Slim in, I'm asking you one other question though. The lumpia eating contest was a hit.
Oh my gosh. It is our signature event year after year.
I ate 2 lumpias and I was full. I cannot imagine those people eating 6 or more lumpias.
But you came in on, so Saturday, every Saturday, the Saturday of Filfest at 2 p.m. That's what we always try to get. So people that want to go year after year after year and join the lumpia eating contest, it's always that Saturday at 2 p.m. And so you come out there, and this year we had 3 levels. So each level had 6 individuals.
Right.
So the winner of that level goes into Sunday. So we had 3 champions because there's 3 levels.
Right,
so those 3 champions went into Sunday. And then because that way they can breathe a little bit. They're fresh. They didn't eat anything. And that way we can really see who truly the champion was. I think one of them didn't show. So it was actually between 2 people. And did you see that it went to sudden death twice? It went to ties twice. It never has ever happened before. It's never gone into tie. And not only did they have to break the tie, it went to a second tie. And then we had the champion. Oh my gosh, it
That
was
was
crazy.
it was really crazy. It was really crazy. But you know what they and you know, and one thing I need to mention at this time, Bobby Scott is a
Yes.
descendant.
Oh
His
yes, and
his
he's
family
always
came from the Philippines, and so he was
yes,
out there. He was out there
yes. He is
uh,
there every year. He's
to
always
embrace
a
you
great
all.
supporter.
Yes, yes, yes. So that was
A
really nice.
lot of people didn't know that about Bobby Scott.
But now,
Really?
no, they
I'm
didn't. They
gonna have to make
didn't.
sure he promotes that.
Well, he does. He does. He lets people know. But
He does.
initially, a lot of people. Well, I didn't. I didn't know. I've been knowing him
Uh-huh.
for a long time, and I didn't know until he started actually talking about it, his
Yes.
heritage. So
Uh-huh.
yeah.
He actually
So
went
Can
for the state of
can I?
Virginia, and he actually went to the Philippines
he
as
did
part
go
of
to the
a
Philippines. I remember when he
of a
went.
yes, as a mission trip, an
Uh-huh.
Mm,
economic development mission trip, and there to actually explore opportunities as a port state, and there's many ports in the Philippines, and to look at exporting and importing of goods, services. So there's different ways to build our relationships between the state of Virginia and the Philippines.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that's what
And you
yeah.
made and you also in short period of time, 14 months,
we
had a
did. We
sister
made that.
city with the city of
Yes,
Norfolk.
we got to do the same thing for
You have
no,
to do the
we
same
did
for
it for
Portsmouth.
Virginia Beach.
That's for sure.
Yes.
We have
So
to get a sister.
Norfolk, yeah, Norfolk has Cagayan de Oro is their sister city, and
Uh-huh.
Virginia Beach's sister city is Olongapo. And then we got to find out what would be a good partnership for the city of Portsmouth for sure.
And you know, and I
Mm.
used to be on the Sister Cities Committee in Portsmouth, but all of a sudden it kind of fizzed out, but it needs to
Well,
start back up again. You
yes. What
know,
were your
so
sister cities then? Was it London or
it was
Portsmouth?
It
it,
was
it
it
was
was
we had
England,
a sister
Portsmouth, England,
Portsmouth, England, and
And
then
re-engage that.
and it was
yes,
another
it was another
country. I
place in
can't remember.
Africa as
Africa
well.
in Africa. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
can't remember the
Yes.
name,
Yes.
but it was
It
Africa
needs
and Portsmouth thing. They need to bring that back because that
it,
was a very important part of our history as well as
exactly.
English history. So I don't know what happened, but maybe we can advocate for that.
Yes, I mean
Exactly.
it's a powerful partnership, but it
Yes.
also is an advocacy for diplomacy and citizenship,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's something that we really need to be proud of, but also share. They have a great program for the youth, again, starting for our next generation and being models of what they can create as legacies for
Mm-hmm.
the city of Portsmouth. And a lot of people probably have no idea that Portsmouth got its name through England, and
Right. Right.
what does that mean,
Uh-huh.
and to actually
Uh-huh.
explore that and share that, and for you can create murals, artwork, different things to
Yes.
demonstrate the power of the relationship between two cities, one
Mm-hmm.
in England
Mm-hmm.
and one in here. So definitely
Mhm.
let's re-engage that. It's a
We
great
need to.
program.
We need to. I'm
Yeah.
telling you. And wait, James.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, thank you so much, Naomi, for being on here. These type of shows are my favorite. When we share information about other cultures, and I learn so much, and hopefully other people learn so much too, as well. I wanted to ask you, I heard that in the Philippines, there are a lot of different dialects, almost to the point where some of you might not understand
That
the
is
other
correct.
people's dialects.
That
And when you come here, I always wonder how you navigate through that. But when you come here, the common language is English. If the
yes,
people from all the different areas with different dialects, if they know English, then y'all can communicate. How do you fit that into your field fest, activities? Because the culture is about the same, but then you
that
have all these different dialects, that you have to sort of incorporate into your festivities.
well, the Philippine Islands was made up of over 7,000 islands. So imagine all the language, I mean, all the different dialects. And there's
Mm-hmm.
over 3,000 dialects that are in the Philippine Islands. And then there's ones that are more common that rise, that Tagalog is like the number one language throughout the country.
Mm-hmm.
But believe it or not, English is the language is taught in the schools.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's any country that is so like the United States in regards to language and the way they speak, it's because it's taught such an early age. Unlike other Asian countries,
Mm-hmm.
whereas English is not the dominant language, so it's taught as early as kindergarten for in the Philippines. It is their language that they teach. And so, and I share that because a lot of the businesses, when they're looking to outsource to different countries, they want something that is close to the way they speak. And believe it or not, the Philippines also is like is the number one call center for businesses worldwide. So whenever you're doing a call, if you're calling in, whether it's a car dealership, a Toyota, or
Yes.
airlines, or Amazon, or Google, or you're getting something repaired, it's most likely in the Philippines
In
call
the
center.
Philippines.
And
Well,
one of the things we like to attribute to that is that they teach the different dialects of the United States. Like they actually will teach you a Southern drawl, a New York accent. I mean, you talk about dialects in the Philippines.
Do you want
We
some
have
coffee?
somewhat our dialects here in the United
yes,
States
indeed.
too.
Yes, indeed.
And so, and they will do a Southern drawl, and I'll be talking to somebody. I'm like, "You're in Manila." She goes, "How'd you know that?" And we're not supposed to tell you that. And I said, "Because I know that Southern drawl ain't from Virginia." And they'll start laughing.
That's a Georgia one.
I'm serious. Or a Louisianan, or I mean, it really, and that's what they teach there because they want you to feel like you're part of that community in the United States. So I was quite impressed with some of the call centers I visited, and I actually showcased some of the folks from the economic development. We went to visit different call centers because they wanted to use them also as resource for their businesses. It could be a medical transcriptionist. It could be people doing passports. It could be doing like car dealerships and the repairs and maintenance. All the calls that that they want to just take over to a call center. And we visited some of those call centers and we looked at how many seats they would have, how many people they can be compliant with, and then seeing how they can tailor a call center to meet the needs of businesses here. So it's actually an extension. So we talk about the dialects in the Philippines, but I joke about that because we also have dialects in the United States.
That's
and how
right. That's right.
So, but as to answer your question, Slim, though, one of the things that we have here is called SCAPA, and they actually performed on Sunday, and it was ran by a young lady, Rachel Chris Lazon, and she actually received one of the innovation awards on Sunday, and she teaches SCAPA, which is the School of Creative and Performing Arts. And in that school, which is at the Philippine Cultural Center here in Virginia Beach on Baxter Road, they actually do language, also teaching the language of Tagalog. So for those who want to learn that language, they have classes there. And that's really the main language that is being taught. So we don't really teach those other dialects. There's so many. But there are groups here. We have over 40 organizations, Filipino organizations here, and they represent different islands of the Philippines. And they do have the different languages within those clubs or organizations.
So if that did become a part of our language emergence program that we have, which is dealing with Spanish right now, and I think probably Filipino language should be the next because it's such a large presence here. But I wanted to say this too, and before Leah gets back,
No, go ahead,
I
James.
worked with somebody from the Philippines one time, and it was always so important to her when she saw someone come in her presence, especially if they were young. She would always ask me, "Do you speak the language?" And she wanted to know. And then I worked with another fellow that was really young, college age, and he didn't know the language, but his parents did. He said they could be talking about him, and all he could hear was his name pop up every once in a while. And I said, "Man, wouldn't that encourage you to want to know what they're talking about?" But that's a cultural thing. So I think with the lady I mentioned, it was more of a cultural thing with her. And I think what you do is culturally inspired. So how important is it because in the African American community, it's important to us to make sure that history gets passed down and stays a part of our history, or we'll lose it. So I'm sure your fest is a big part of maintaining or that cultural history and making sure all the young people coming up know that history, and keep that history to continue to pass it down.
Exactly. And I think a lot of ethnic groups are doing that because they want more and more. We want to make sure we share that with our young kids and the next generation, because like you said, it can get lost, and you don't want that to get lost. And the organization I spoke of earlier, the Filipino American National Historical Society, really does a lot of research to remind folks in America the contributions that are made here in the U.S. That have helped build the states the way it is today, and to make sure those contributions are recognized. And so I do want to make sure that, and there's so many around us that want to make sure not to only share it with our Filipino community, but to mainstream. It's so important to have, and Sister Cities does a great job in this, and with diplomacy and citizenship and advocating for recognizing one another and unifying each other. And I think that's what I hope Filfest does. If there's a takeaway, it's not just to share amongst ourselves as Filipinos, but with mainstream to enjoy our culture, to know its traditions, not only through song and dance, but history, and to cultivate that and to embrace it. More and more, we see people being distraught or falling apart or being separated. We need to find ways to bring us together. And I think that's what I would like. If you took away anything from Filfest, is that how we brought brethren together.
The unity was definitely there and exhibited. I mean, beyond you couldn't compare. You know, the love that was shown out there at the festival Saturday and Sunday. But you know,
Yes.
Naomi, I think that James reads. I think he looks over and reads my notes, because he comes up with questions that I have written here already, and he catch it before he says it before I get a chance to say it.
Let me see if you have this one. Let me see if you have this one.
Let me hear it, James.
Let me see if you, and this is sort of changed a little bit, because when I was in the hospital, I noticed there was a big presence of Filipino nurses. And I remember in our culture, it used to be where you going into teaching was the way to go, because it guaranteed you a job teaching. And is that something that's, over in Philippines, say if you want to, get a job, or, something that's pushed the nursing field, because it was a big presence of nurses. Also, it's many other job opportunities or job opportunities that out there for everybody. But I just noticed a strong presence of the nurses. Is that something that's really pushed, coming from the Philippines to America?
As a matter of fact, and it's actually talked about through a lot of things, through either comedy or through churches or through different parts of society, that one of the things is that we always want to make every generation better than the next, right? So how do we make, and education is the bottom line, our foundation of how do we make each generation better. But there was a tendency of, especially in the 50s, where men were asked to join the military. So you got a big influence of Filipinos coming into America through the military. And that's why there's a big presence here. But alongside that, in the 50s also, there was a call out for nurses. And parts of New York, parts of Washington, D.C., Maryland, and parts of North Carolina, South Carolina on the East Coast, and then parts of California, there were big call outs for nurses to fulfill certain positions. And some of those were specifically in the Philippines. So all of a sudden you had a big push of nurses coming into those particular cities that were doing call outs because they were in much need. And they found there was a lot of Filipinos that were graduating with nurse degrees, but then they were fulfilling their jobs here in the US. So you see a lot of families here where the husband was military and the wife was a nurse, and they've come together because of, that's who they met here, is because, and it was pushed with nurses. So you have a plethora of nurses, but I think you saw a lot of that also post COVID. There was a lot of jobs that were, nurses was like the job that was much needed, right? So you had all these different Filipinos coming in to fulfill those roles. And as a matter of fact,
and other nationalities as well.
Oh yes,
Mhm,
for sure.
Mhm.
mhm, mhm.
November 16 and 17, there's a movie called Nurses Unseen, meaning nurses that were fulfilling jobs in hospitals that were not wanting to be filled because everybody was so scared of COVID and the
Mhm,
risk
mhm.
that they were putting on their families. But there was a lot of Filipinos that took on those roles and took the
Yes, they
risk.
did.
And so Nurses Unseen is actually a movie that's actually being pushed throughout America. And you can, actually is going to be brought into our Hampton Roads community. And so look out for that. And I'll also share that, Leah and Slim. I'll share that when the flyer comes out because it talks about nurses specifically and the Filipino nurses that have fulfilled roles throughout the nation during that very difficult time. Um,
Mhm,
but nurses is a big thing, and it's funny because as you're growing up, your mom always wants you to be a nurse, somebody
mhm,
Mhm.
that's you got to be a nurse, an educator, uh, uh, the other things were be an attorney, be an accountant, they
mhm.
always want you to be a professional, right?
Yes, yes.
So that was to take the next generation to be a better,
Mhm,
but that's not just Filipino community. That's every community wants every
Every
generation to be
community.
better and better, right?
mhm,
So how do we make each other better to push each other up and to
mhm,
rise everybody up? You could do much more, right? And we
mhm.
keep stretching the envelope. I do that to
Yes,
my own
yes.
children too.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
But I'm so thankful that you brought this to the city of Portsmouth. Because although, as James says, we have meetings, we meet people who are from the Philippines, you talk to people from the Philippines, but you don't get to experience the culture itself. And
Right.
that's what you did those 2 days there at Festival Park, which was a wonderful way of seeing and also seeing the influence of other countries into the Filipino uh, culture as well. Because one of the dances that the ladies did, it was like a Spanish influence in that dance. I'm trying to think which one it was where they were playing where they had
The
oh
Tonda.
goodness. Yes,
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 and that was on
yes, yes.
Saturday. But I don't know if you realize also the Filipino history for over 200 years, the Spanish had colonialized the
Mm-hmm,
Philippines.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so there's a lot of Spanish influence in our
Yes.
language, in our food,
Mm-hmm,
in our clothing, our fashions. So it has really been embedded in so much of our culture in
mm-hmm.
Spanish themes. So you saw that a lot, and so you saw that in our song and our dance, especially on
Yes, yes,
Saturday.
yes. And and it was so interesting to see JR, the Philippines
Yes,
R&B guy, King. He was great. And so
yes,
was it Jack Mac,
Jagmac.
the
Yes,
sisters
yeah.
and brothers who sang
Oh my,
together?
what isn't that wonderful? Did you meet the mom and dad? Because
I
I
didn't meet
applaud
the mom
them.
and dad.
I
They
applauded
were
her because I said,
amazing.
"These are your children coming." They were amazing, weren't they? They were.
Yes, they
As a matter
were.
of fact, I'm glad you brought that up because during that weekend, there was a lot of folks that were concerned with Hurricane Helen because it
Hmm.
was about that same time,
That's
and so
right.
people were asking about donations and where they could do donations. Is Filfest participating and so forth? And on Praise Sunday, Sunday morning, we were taking donations at the children's tent, and there was a QR code for the donations. But after the event, that had just hit us so hard that how can we be celebrating when so many people also have lost their
Exactly.
homes? So, believe it or not, today we made the decision in 30 days on November 17th. Put this on your calendars. We are going to do a concert benefit and at Rivers Casino. And I talked to
You,
Rivers Casino. You never
you,
ask at
you
the same time you say
you got the
thank you.
rivers. You got the rivers before. I was coming to rivers, but go ahead. Okay, go ahead.
But so, but so when I was thanking all our sponsors, I meet with them individually after as a post event kind of thing. And I said, I never ask at the same time I say thank you, but time is of the essence. And I'm
Mhm.
really excited to put a concert together because JR and JagMac want to
Mhm.
come back and they
Great.
want to do a concert benefit. And so I asked them, because, I had to go back to Rivers Casino, find out their availability, and long of the short, find a date that works for everybody. And
Mhm.
it happens to be, and this, we started talking about this last Friday. And as of today, we are going to be at Rivers Casino with a benefit concert to benefit the victims of Hurricane Helen.
Wonderful.
It is our
Wonderful.
backyard. There was a major devastation in Asheville, North Carolina, specifically.
Yes, it was.
And so we celebrate Filfest. We celebrate Filipino American History Month in a great way. We are all excited. We were elevated, but we also need to elevate our brethren. And so that's what we plan to do on November 6th. So we're bringing back JR. So put it out there. I'm going to put it.
I want to hear JR is coming back, and Jag Mac. You're gonna love Jag Mac. Those sisters and brothers give a great performance. Great performance.
And it's going to be a concert benefit, and we're going to benefit those that really lost a lot. Some people have their homes were demolished.
Yes.
So what a great thing that they're willing to come back, and this time to give up their time and to showcase their love for our neighbors. So, and kudos to, because there's not many entertainers that will do that to back.
Yes.
And so to know that they're willing to come back to Portsmouth and come out to Rivers Casino. And so I want to thank Rivers Casino for actually donating the space and making this available. There's also those that were trafficked in Asheville, North Carolina. So that's another reason why we're doing it, is our fight against human trafficking. And at the same time, when hurricanes, typhoons, war, when devastation like that happens, it is usually, and it's not coincidental, that there are people out there to take advantage of the vulnerable.
Of course.
And that's one of the things we're fighting and helping churches and organizations in Asheville, because that became a challenge. And so we will, share that information also at the event at Rivers Casino. But look out for that poster and flyer, and I'll make sure that you share that.
Well,
yes.
It's the day before my birthday, so it'd be my birthday celebration. Okay?
Celebrate your birthday. Yes.
Celebrate my birthday.
It's called Shine Bright because we're going to be like a holiday event. People will be wearing their holiday wear. And so it's to give thanks and to call to the rescue. So that's what we're doing, calling to the rescue and giving thanks.
Oh, no, say this.
I'm going to bring the Colonel in, but I just had to mention one other thing. I know he probably has something he wants to ask you. He's having problems with his internet, but he's back. But Naomi, not only are you doing that event on the 17th, but you have brought the Filipino culture to the casino. You have done shows at the casino.
Yes, we have, because we love the space there. And, we're an advocate to make sure that businesses thrive and survive. And in times like this, we need to showcase the heart of what keeps us beating, right? And so, again, to promote and to elevate businesses and to make sure they survive. So when we saw the space, we said, gosh, what a great opportunity to showcase Filipino talent locally. And that's what we did. And Rivers Casino allowed us to do that on a month-to-month. And it was kind of trying to bring us together for Filfest in October. Right. So we started that in January. And through the year, we were able to showcase local talent.
Wonderful. Colonel, do you have a question?
How you doing? I'm having some cable and internet problems out here in Suffolk because they're redoing putting fiber optics in. And that's the big thing. So they're digging up people's yards and doing all that stuff to, doing that, trying to move us up to the 21st century. But I love the Filipino race and the culture and all that's what's with it. But it is, as we all know, it's election time. And, with the Filipino culture, we know that the majority of the Filipinos are of the Catholic faith. And there's a lot will vote because of the abortion issue. They'll vote on that one issue piece. But do most Filipinos that you come in contact with, do they understand that because you are of color, according to Trump, that you will be lumped in with the rest of us, people of color, to be rounded up and possibly deported with the rest of the folks, and gone after because because you represent, you don't represent the European blonde-haired, blue-eyed brethren out there.
So is that your question, is to see how I feel about that specifically?
And the rest, and you can't speak for the rest of your, the Filipinos out there, but the comment, what I'm seeing, that what Trump has said against anybody who is not of European, blue-eyed, blonde-haired descent will be lumped in with the black and brown and yellow folks, to be gone after, to be with the National Guard, to be lumped in, to be put in open air detention camps, to be sent back to the Philippines in your case. And so what with that kind of history out there, and what can the Filipino people do to help themselves? Or will they vote for their own on one issue, on the abortion issue, and kill themselves on the back end?
So, Colonel, what I've shared with folks on this, and for Filfest, we try to take a nonpartisan position, because what's important for us is that, and we do this also in our community and the Philippine Cultural Center, or in different venues, where we ask candidates to come out and actually share their platforms. What's important is that everybody is different in their lives, whether they're a young person or older person, professionally or retired, or someone who's in a nursing care system, or they're looking at their education because they have young kids. So depending on their way of life, their position in life, it depends that they actually really review the platforms of candidates, educate themselves. Don't vote because your neighbor's voting that way or your family member's voting like that. Find out what that individual's platforms are. So people sometimes vote differently locally, and then statewide, and then federally, because sometimes the positioning is different. So I ask people to really go out to these campaigns and actually hear and ask the questions that are important to you, because what's important to somebody else may not be important to you. So you got to find out, really research to see how a candidate stands, and to see how that fits in your pathway. Everybody's pathway is different. And I may vote one way because when I was 30, and clearly a different party when I'm 40, and another party when I'm 50, because all the parties are not always, and Republican and a Democrat, it's not like so black and white anymore. There's so much gray. So you got to fiddle it out and find out how that person stands, because at the end of the day, if you vote one way and it didn't really respond to your personal and professional, the only person you have to fault on that is yourself. And then if you don't vote, that's even worse, because you didn't really on your behalf either. So I said, get register to vote, because there's a lot of people don't even register to vote, and they go out to vote, because some people register and then they don't go vote. But what's really critical is really finding out, educate yourself on the platforms of individuals, and then, make sure that as that person takes on that seat, to follow through and said, hey, you said this and this and this and this. And I do. And as a matter of fact, people who are going up for re-elections, whatever their position was, and they didn't fulfill it, I said, what happened there? And so it is a good point to put people on, to
hold them accountable.
Accountable. Make sure they're transparent. Transparent and accountable. So that's my position. And I'm not going to share personally what I stand, but as a Filipino community, we're and I'm not Catholic myself. I'm Protestant. I'm actually Methodist. And so all of us, whether it's your religious beliefs, at the end of the day, it's how is it impacting your household? How is it impacting you as a person?
And Naomi, and in talking about the individuals who are running for office, it was so great to see so many individuals who are running for office who came out to the festival, and hopefully,
and it didn't matter. It didn't matter their party either. We didn't make it a political thing. They were there to support, and that's what I love about it, was unifying us not dividing us. And
Uh-huh.
no one was in there for a political positioning or campaigning. No one used as a campaign ground, which I appreciate. We try
Yeah.
not to make it a campaign ground, but for folks to come out and to really get to know the people, get to know who makes
Right,
up the
right.
community.
It was good to see Mayor Glover dancing to JR's music, and then the next day to see Senator Lucas and
And
Lisa
Lisa, yes, yes,
and Letitia Sessoms and all of the
yes,
individuals who showed up to support the festival, which made it into a really great 2 days of fellowship, 2 days of
exactly.
complete fellowship. So I'm thankful, but our time is really running a little short. But I just want to share with those out there. I met Naomi when Nika came here for the Bloomberg studies, and
Yes,
she's in the Philippines. She knows that the show is on, and she's going to start. She said she's going to watch you, Naomi, on tonight,
yes.
and we
I'm
got a
so
chance
excited I
to
got
go
to
to
meet her
only
too.
What's the
yes, and
time
we got
difference?
together, huh?
It's 12
James,
hours.
12 hours? Okay.
Yes, so it's
uh-huh.
8 a.m. in the morning there.
Mm.
Yes. And we got to go to Only Readers, and we had a great meal at Only Readers. And I'm just thankful that Mayor Glover brought the Bloomberg study here, because otherwise I would not have had the opportunity to meet Nika, nor would I've had the opportunity to meet you, for which I am truly thankful
We're
for.
so blessed. Leah, it's a blessing to meet you as well. And you know, when Nika came here, she actually had a relative that lived in Virginia Beach. And
Right.
so,
Her
what a
grandmother,
small
wasn't it?
world. And that she actually met with
Yeah.
us at Only at Renee's as well. You know, we're trying to
Only
get Only
Renee's.
Renee's at Portsmouth. We got to find a place for her, you know, because
Uh-huh.
I think it'd be such a great place to be in Portsmouth, you know, and she loves the community as well. So let's
Uh-huh.
try to get some other
Yeah,
businesses
Only
out there
Renee's.
and get business development out there.
Right, right. And the food was amazing, James. So if you can get down there, that is the beach, right? Because I rode with somebody else. So, but Only
Yeah,
Yes.
Renee's is a
I really
great place
wanted
to
to
get it.
come, but I had a previous engagement, but
Yes,
sorry I
yes.
missed it. But anything
And
else that comes up, please let me know, because that's my thing, learning about other cultures. I
well,
think it's
James, I
important.
think that we need to probably go down to the Filipino Cultural Center and do a live
We
show
should.
from there, because they have a lot of activities going on at the Filipino Cultural Center in Virginia Beach,
I definitely
and
want to
they got
introduce
some
you.
awesome dancers, some
Yes.
awesome
I want
dancers.
I want to introduce you to the chairperson of the Philippine Cultural Center. Her name is Dr. Sin Romero, and I'm sure she'll love to do a live radio talk and to share all the different activities that happen at the Philippine Cultural Center, to have the experience and to be exposed to the culture, the traditions, the history. And they got a nice library in there too of all the different literature. So it'd be great to really
Uh-huh.
see that and showcase that on your coffee talk.
Yeah, we'll
Yes,
do that
yes.
real soon. We'll do that real soon.
Okay, I'm gonna count
Yes.
on it. I'm gonna call Dr. Sin Romero when I get off this radio show and say, "Hey, gotta talk to Slim. She's gonna have a showcase you."
And,
Yeah, just give me
Slim,
the contact information.
I
Give me the
will.
contact
he'll make it
information,
happen.
and
He will
I'll
make it
call her
happen.
real
That's for sure.
quick.
Okay, I
So
will.
Naomi, is Roy listen? Is Roy listening to us today?
He is actually upstairs listening on to the show because we have all the
Wonderful.
grandchildren here too, and so it gets a little loud. So I'm here in this other room by myself while he was up here with the grandchildren.
Mm.
But he's
Great,
So,
excited about
great.
the show.
Uh-huh.
can I
Uh-huh.
ask if someone was thinking about traveling to the Philippines, what suggestions would you give them as far as where to go and what to do?
As a matter of fact, Leah brought up my husband. My husband has a travel agency called the Travel Outlet Just Go Philippines, and it's off
What a
Indian
perfect
River
question,
and
please.
Kempsville, and its niche market is the Philippines. And he's
Uh-huh.
been in business over 30 years, and so he has the love, the passion, and depending on the length of your stay, your budget, and how many people are going. I mean, we do church groups, we do family groups, we do couples, honeymoons, anniversaries. So, depending on where you're going to go, how long you can go, we can definitely create a trip of a lifetime. I mean, I love to showcase the Philippines. There's 7,000 islands, but so many inhabitable ones. And so we definitely want to showcase Olongapo as a sister city, Cagayan de Oro, which is Norfolk's sister city. But Manila is beautiful, Cebu is beautiful, Davao is beautiful. There's so many. So depending on how long you can stay, I mean, if you could do 30 days, if you could do 2 weeks, depending on your length of stay, we can really show you an incredible trip.
Yeah, I asked that for the Colonel
And you have
because
to.
the Colonel is the world traveler. He's been
He's a traveler.
everywhere.
He's
I
a
don't know if
traveler.
have you been to the
Have you
Philippines,
been to
Colonel?
Yeah.
It's on the list too. Matter of fact, you said
See,
travel
I
outlet, right?
think it was on the list. He's been everywhere else.
Yeah.
Well,
You
Yeah,
said travel
it's on the
outlet.
list.
And
travel
he usually
outlet.
takes his whole family. So,
Yeah, travel.
and I'm
Yes.
family.
Travel
And I'm
outlet.
family, Colonel.
Yeah.
Well, it
But
definitely.
Naomi, you've also done one to encourage the millennials to go. Just go Philippines,
That's
right?
right. We did. We actually did a millennial trip because we want them to remember their heritage. We brought a small group one year, and I will never forget one of the young guys. He had never been to the Philippines, and he was over 30 years old. And he just got on his knees at the airport and he started crying and he said, "Thank you for doing this. If you hadn't pushed me to make this possible, I wouldn't have come." And to see the Philippines, how beautiful it is, and to really have an appreciation of my beginnings and actually see where my parents came from was
Mm-hmm.
truly a trip of a lifetime. So that's what we encouraged. So many people will go to other parts of the world, but they don't
Yes.
even invest time in looking at where their family came from. And
That's right.
that's what was critical. So when people go back to Africa, people come back to Central South America, people go back to even parts of Asia, to see where their descent and actually see where their families are from. That's so critical, to know where you come from and where you're going to go.
Exactly.
And some people actually go back to the Philippines and they don't even want to leave. That's how crazy it is. It's like, I don't even want to leave, Naomi. And I'm like, that's exactly, then we were successful.
Exactly.
And you covered the traditional music from the Philippines, but a lot of Filipinos have been influenced by American music because one of my favorite girl groups is Fourth Impact.
Oh my
And,
gosh. Yes,
and
yes.
their rendition of Bruno Mars' song "Keep the Door Open."
Oh my
Yes, indeed.
gosh.
Yes,
Classic
indeed.
to me. It's classic already, and they just did it about a few years ago. But it was a lot of influence, American influence music on a lot of the artists in the Philippines, and their goals is to get to America with that music.
But you
Well,
brought that point up. There's actually a rapper. Her name is Ruby Ibarra, and she's in California. But you know who she followed the music of, and actually is her mentor, and that's why she is who she is today. Is Missy Elliott.
Missy Elliott.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Hometown.
Yes.
So
Yes.
hometown girl, and so I would love the collaboration of bringing Filipino artists and performers and actually bring their mentors together and actually showcase that in Portsmouth. Wouldn't that be incredible
Yeah.
That would be
to have
amazing.
folks
Yes.
who were
Yes.
mentors and actually help build their music to build what it is today? It's
Just
incredible.
make sure you get Fourth Impact.
Okay, Fourth Impact. I got it on my list. We have to bring them at next Filfest.
Look, when you hear JR and Jagmac, you're gonna love them too, James.
Yes, James, you
When
have
you
to
hear
come out
them
to Rivers Casino, November
on the
I'm sure I
17th.
will.
Put it on your calendar for sure.
Already
17th,
have.
Colonel. Rivers
Yep.
Casino, Colonel, 17th.
I'm writing it down
Oh,
right now.
I'm glad you said that. I put the 13th. I would have been there.
The 17th. It's
I
a
would have been there
Sunday.
on the
I'll
13th.
remind you. The
And Colonel,
17th.
I'm going to look out for you, and I'm going to try to put a plan together for your family. So we're gonna build that trip. So one day you'll be on the Coffee Talk show, and you'll be talking about that trip, and you'll be encouraging others to go.
Yes, indeed. Leah, make sure you invite Naomi to the IC Norcom weekend.
Oh, Naomi. I'll talk
What's
One
to
of
you
those
going
about
on?
days.
our homecoming weekend for IC Norcom High School.
Talk
Uh-huh.
It's
about
coming
some
up
history.
November 2nd. It is an experience, Naomi. It's a real
Okay.
experience. I'll
What's the
talk to
date
you
of
about
that?
it.
Okay,
Yes,
definitely.
yes, definitely so. But Naomi, this has been wonderful. It's hard to believe we've been on here for 59 minutes.
We
It
have.
doesn't seem like that.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, I've enjoyed the
But
time
let me
with
tell
you and sharing
listen,
Filipfest and our Filipino American National Historical Society and Filipino American History Month. October is one that we actually is special to us, and
mhm.
glad it is now shown and provided awareness for the communities that are listening today.
And so you're
And we're
planning to
definitely
come
going to
back
work on
next
that
year in
remote.
October.
Yes,
Yes,
definitely.
yes. So you're coming back in October of next year for Filfest, are we?
Well, hopefully earlier than that, because we want to post about November 17th and what we did for our concert benefit, so we can showcase that. But there's so many other opportunities. So I love to have like Rachel Chris from the SCAPA, Dr. Sim Romero from PCC or the Philippine Cultural Center, somebody from the Portsmouth Naval Hospital, our ports. There's so many people that can
Yes.
showcase their industry and actually show the importance of it and the vitality for our economy, for sure.
But Naomi, and that's exactly what we need, and that's the one thing that we stress here for some coffee talk. We're not here to entertain. We're here to give out information so the community is
Exactly.
aware of what's going on in the community. So, and sometimes you look at the numbers and you say, "Oh, not many people watch," but many people watch. They just don't hit that like button, and we need you to hit that like button. We need you to go on YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube page. And your family and friends can watch this from now on because it will be on YouTube and they can watch it until the end of times. Okay. So,
All
and I
right.
just
Well,
encourage them to like and subscribe to our page. Okay.
I will. I will. And thank you very
Yeah,
much for taking the opportunity to have me on your evening show. And I look forward to sharing more resources and sharing your coffee talk with others.
Well, we are
thank
we
you.
are
We
connected
appreciate
now. You're
that.
not gonna get away. Okay.
Okay.
We're truly connected
Sounds
now.
good. Okay.
And Yolanda,
Sounds good.
Yolanda Daughtry told me to tell you that she couldn't listen now, but she is going to listen later today because she had a meeting tonight. So I
Okay.
did pass that on to her. She was asking, about the show tonight, and you're coming on. And once again, we want to thank Mayor Glover for encouraging you to bring Phil Fest to Portsmouth. And we just looking forward to the many more adventures and the many more events that you're going to bring into our lives to improve us as well as we learn about the culture of those in the Philippines and those living in America who are from the Philippines. So, Naomi, I want to thank you so very much. I don't know if any of my gentlemen have anything to say, and then we'll give you the last word. How about that? Thanks again for coming on Portsmouth Coffee Talk, Naomi. James, Colonel, anyone?
Okay, Naomi, thank you for coming on today and explaining and telling everybody about the Filipino community. Also, I'd like to tell the folks out there in Electron Land is you'll see the stuff scrolling out below, and when you go to YouTube, to hit that like and subscribe, and you can also support Portsmouth Coffee Talk with the at PO Box 7664, Portsmouth, Virginia 23707. And there's a ways to support this show because you're not going to see anything like this and information given to you from any other source out there. And so thanks for those out there in the electron world that are looking, that are watching. And Naomi, thank you.
No, thank you, Colonel. Thank you.
Them?
And I just wanted to say thank you, and for those watching out there, excuse me. This is one of the shows I mentioned earlier. That's my favorite, one of my favorites. So if we want going forward, we want to make sure we share other cultural histories of others, and s- get in touch with me if you want to come on and just have a conversation with us. We appreciate it. And Naomi, if you have a last comment, if not, then we can end.
Naomi?
I just wanted to say thank you for extending the invitation for Filfest to share and to. We just really had a great experience being in Portsmouth, and we hope that we have more times together and to help raise each other's communities. If anything, is really to show unity and to show that we come together. There's too many things in this today where people are separating each other and dividing each other. And if there's any more events like this, is to bring people together and unite each other. And that's what I believe Filfest did in Portsmouth this year. So thank you for letting me share that. And Leah, thank you so much for coming out there for not one day, but both days. That you're excited. Thank you. And thank you for letting me be on Coffee Tech.
Thank you.
Okay, well said. And remember, Portsmouth Coffee Talk is here for our voice, our community, and our future. See you next time.